Joining me now on this episode of Locally Sourced EP is the awesome professional voice actress and vocalist, Miss Stephanie Nadolny. Nadolny. Hi.
Nadolny, yes,
Nadolny. How you doing today, ma'am?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
I am doing very well myself, trying not to fanboy out on you. I am a huge fan. Ever since
Fanboys, geeks and
I,
dweebs, I love
I
it.
I don't know if you can see, I have it's regular Goku, and then I have uh
Oh, hmm.
baby Gohan back there. And then I just
Oh,
brought this because I was getting it ready for this weekend.
I
To,
love that one. Yeah,
that's my, of course, that's probably, I think, most of the Gohan fans probably favorite coupled episodes when he turned Super Saiyan 2, but we'll get into that a
yeah,
little later. But
yeah.
you are a professional voice actress and vocalist, and you've done a lot of voice work. How did you get started doing how did you
Yeah.
get started in becoming a voice actress?
Yeah, it's I try to summarize this because I get asked this pretty much every interviews, but I'll try to so I started out um as a child singing constantly, singing, dancing, performing, putting on shows for my relatives. I mean, the whole like hairbrush microphone up on the, the stair, what is it, the fireplace, the
All right.
stage. I knew at a young age, as far back as I can remember, I think age three, 3 and 4, my father and my mom, we didn't have a whole lot when we were little. They were young parents, but we always had a stereo, and
Mhm.
both were lovers of music. Neither were performing or singers, or never went into the industry themselves, but I knew that's what I wanted to do. And so once I had a microphone in my hand, my dad was recording me and my older brother onto like 8-track tape. It's a long
Mhm.
time ago. And I don't know, boy, it would be really awesome to have those, but they've been lost along the way.
Oh
But
no.
I started singing along to disco music, and I had albums, and I had, records and a record player, and then it moved into cassettes. And, I knew that's what I wanted to do, but it was a matter of, my parents split when I was 6, and then everything was in disarray. And then my mom remarried, and then we moved every 2 or 3 years. So there was a lot of chaos in my life, but my go-to was always music and singing and performing, and anything from community theater to um what are they, talent contests, and pom pom, drill team, drama, choir, show choir, anything and everything performing was what I chose to do on any and all of my free time. So once I ended up moving from, gosh, we were mostly in Texas. I'm originally from Memphis, Tennessee, but I grew up in parts of Houston, Eagle Pass, Texas, on the border of Mexico. I ended up in the border of Oklahoma, the border of Kansas, and then back down to the Dallas Fort Worth area. And I ended up there at the end of 11th grade, which was horribly traumatizing, being a new girl so many times, and
Oh
especially in
wow.
small towns. I was it was a bad. I was bullied pretty bad emotionally and picked on. I think it's because I knew, like, I had a sort of an air of confidence, that I knew I was going to go into, show business. People like, oh, whatever, I mean, and we all, everybody kind of goes through a little bit of that, especially when we're, middle school, high school. It's just, just a lot of immaturity and stuff. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
being a new kid's it's just not fun for anybody unless you're like an athlete. It seems like if you're an athlete, everybody loves you. It's like, oh, they're gonna be great for athletics. But so basically I just did anything and everything performance related. Got into at UNT, University of North Texas, right out of high school, and got into a band actually right away, a band that was
Oh,
wanting to
nice.
start taking, gigs. And so we were rehearsing, at like the bass player's house. He was the oldest one. He was in his 30s, and we were all like kids. And believe it or not, my voice was heard through the window. There was a musician across the street that asked me to audition for his band. And basically, I just kind of moved in and out of the industry, and was sitting in with bands. I was ready to go. It was just a matter of time. I was either going to get my degree or go on the road. And fortunately, I got the opportunity to go on the road with a show band called Vince Vance and the Valiants. Um, I think I was probably 19 when that happened. I just kept getting kind of recruited to different things, and so I had to leave school
Mhm.
to follow my dream because I wasn't able to do so as a kid. You know, parents wouldn't let me do any of that. You know, get through high school and then you do whatever. But you're,
Mhm.
you know, I wanted to be like a child, like singer, actor, recording artist, but that wasn't meant to be. So I met these guys with Brave Combo, a Grammy Award winning polka band, started singing with them. We ended up working on an album, and I started working on their albums as backup singer. I was recruited from there to be Helen the Hen for us, a few months for Chuck E. Cheese.
Mhm.
And then from there, people were referring me to in and out of studio recordings for Jimmy Toys. And then that's when I really got more into the voice acting. I started character voice acting for the characters of these animals and these little they put them in the voice box into the little animals, and they, you know, like, you know, twirl around and sing
All
Christmas
right.
songs and
Yeah.
Easter bunny. So that's when I really started developing character voices because I was, you know, singing and you know, trying to sound like what maybe a reindeer would sound like, or for Christmas, or, you know, bunnies, or, you know, mostly animals. And that was a lot of fun because it was like kind of rapid fire, one thing at a time. We did a lot of stuff for Halloween, and then from there I started writing for morning show radio. That was parodies and jingles, kind of like Weird Al Yankovic. I would change the lyrics to the songs, and I
Right.
did one called Broccoli Spears. It was about Britney Spears, and next thing you know, I'm writing them just for fun, and some of them get picked up and they end up playing on the radio. So basically, that's kind of how it happened. It was like I kind of met people and then they referred me, and then I, you know, started singing, you know, on touring with Vance. We were out 300 days a year, tour bus, the whole bit, sleeping on the airport floors,
Oh,
really,
wow.
really rocking it hard in my 20s. Costumes, comedy. We were kind of like Sean and Ah meets B-52s. And so basically, once I got in the industry and I was singing with different bands, you know, during the week and subbing for bands, and I was recruiting singers and starlets and mentoring them. And we had three girl singers, so I was constantly updating the costumes with them. And I ended up becoming the senior Valiant, Vince Vance and the Values. We all had V names. I was Violet. We had Venus, Violet, Victoria, Vanessa. We had so many girls coming through. But I got bit by the bug, and I was in it to win it, and I ended up staying with the band for over 2 decades.
Oh, that's great.
But towards the end of the 90s was when I met Barry Watson, who was a Brave Combo fan, the Grammy Award winning polka band I was working with. And he heard me singing in the studio and was just kind of hanging out in the back because he was friends with us. And he asked me if I'd ever done voice work, and I said, "Oh yeah, you know, I do funny voices. I've been, you know, running around as a kid, you know, and mimicking my family and my babysitter, and absolutely, you know, I do some voice work." And so he gave me his information, and he had already had in his mind that he was going to be recasting Dragon Ball Z.
Hmm.
This is I found all this out many months later. They were recording it at the Ocean Dub up in Vancouver, and Barry Watson decided to, with his, you know, colleagues with Funimation, decide to recast the show because there's so much talent in Dallas Fort Worth, and there's no union, there's no residuals or royalties.
Hmm.
They could save a ton of money on cheap talent, but good, solid, reputable talent here. And I ended up getting called in for the audition, and thankfully I showed up, and I auditioned for the female characters. I didn't know anything about anime. It was 1998.
Hmm.
My mom had just gotten diagnosed with cancer, and we lost her that next year. So 99 was a big year. It was like a
Hmm.
lot of up and downs. You know, singing in a band and traveling, and, you know, coming home, and, you know, we were taking care of my mother, and she had a bone marrow transplant. And so I was just at the time, I mean, I was, you know, was in my 20s, you know, traveling and just in and out of everything. And um, that's how I got the audition. And at the end of the audition, they said, "Hey,"
Hmm.
it was Barry Watson and two other casting directors asked me to do a voice of a child, like a boy, a child. And I had, you know, kid stepbrothers, and I mean, I had plenty of references. So I gave him a kid voice. I gave him a little raspy kid voice. They actually asked for me to be raspy.
Hmm.
Some people ask me about that. I'm like, well, they told me they wanted it. They wanted it raspy, because Goku's more like this, and he's kind of more like up in the higher register. And Gohan's more like, "Don't hurt my daddy." And of course, in the Cell Saga, he's more like, "I'm just a kid," you know. So uh, I was there not often at the beginning because we were in the Ginyu Saga, somewhere in the 50s, episode
Hmm.
54, 55, somewhere in there. So I wasn't there very often. When I'd come in, I would knock out, several episodes in 1 or 2 hours.
Mhm.
We would just kind of fast forward and rewind, and that's how we did it back then. It was analog.
Right.
We would have paper scripts and headphones, and I just basically learned. I was already very well integrated in the in show business, so it was just a matter of me, following direction and being efficient, and then as time went by, um, all of us started realizing how popular the show was. Like, a little at a time. Like, we had the Burger King toys that came out in like 2000, maybe 2001. I went to my first Comic Con, San Diego Comic Con, in summer of 2000. Had never even seen Comic Cons. I didn't even know what they
Mhm.
were. It was like a whirlwind. Of course, I had to prove that I was the voice because no one believed me. All the kids were coming through going, "No, you're a girl. There's no way you're the voice of Gohan." So I had to, do the voice
Yeah.
all weekend long and just, get all raspy and almost lose my voice. But
Yeah, I was gonna say when you guys when you do like when you have to I guess prove yourself that you are the voice, do you like do like special care to your voice? Like you guys do you like drink a special tea or drink or limit yourself? Because I know sometimes you guys are there from like Friday all the way to Sunday at some Comic Cons and you just gotta
yeah,
like
true, true, true. And then some of the sessions get pretty intense too, especially with the screaming and the fighting and the
yeah.
reactions. And I don't know, it came natural for me. I don't know, because I was very, very vocal my whole life. Like,
Mhm.
I knew my voice inside and out, backwards and frontwards. I knew how to morph it into different sounds. I was, I had mimicked high school friends, middle school friends. I
Mhm.
mean, even when I was a kid, I would carry around a cassette player. I was really into piano. I learned how to play by ear. All my
Oh
free
wow.
time was spent using my voice, singing, writing songs, writing poetry. I kept a journal. Like, I was just very artsy, just naturally. Thankfully, I had the ear, because when you're
Mhm.
in music, you really you have to have the ear. You have to know when you're on pitch, when you're not, and intonation, and really have a very good natural musical ear. And
Yeah.
thankfully I did, because that's what I wanted to do, and that's all I spent my free time on. So I it came natural. They called me the reactress because most of my lines early on were just reactions, just like, "Ugh, whoa, ah, or taken off, and maybe a few fighting reactions and kind of in
Right.
the background. They called me the reactress because I had to do so many different types of reactions. But I had already had experience with, Chuck E. Cheese, and I had already had experience at Jimmy Toys. And so um, I kind of just fit right in with it and just followed direction. And eventually Barry left the company, and there were a lot of changes made. Some of the voice actors became directors, some of the directors became voice actors, some of them were both.
Mhm.
And from then on, Steve Barry also cast me as Goku in Dragon Balls. And one day I showed up, and all of a sudden I'm the voice of Goku, which I didn't even know anything about. So I had to learn about him and his story and his background, and what kind of personality he was. And so then I did, voice Goku. I also voiced East Kai, Baby Trunks,
Right.
um, a German English teacher. I had like maybe 17 or 18 roles, but they were most of them, were either the really big ones or very small roles that, were just in a few episodes. Or like,
Mhm.
I might be, a villager or a townswoman or a
Mhm.
baby crying. Or we had a small group of talent back then, and a lot of us could do multiple voices. And then we would do the Walla sessions where we'd all pile in the little padded booth, and there'd be like four of us in there, and they would just layer our voices like we were the townspeople in the background. Or
Oh wow.
we would act like we would watch, we were dubbing. Everything you see was already done in Japan. We
Mhm.
were there to dub in English. So that's how it all kind of came together. It's hard to summarize it, but I mean, I had already been doing voices, like, for fun, like
Yeah.
mimicking my favorite cartoon voices or my friends at school. So I mean, I even had radio shows that me and a couple of girlfriends and I would do. In the summertime, we would record on cassette, and we would like interview
Mhm.
each other, and we'd make up a theme song. And so I was already like really like, yeah, this is long before the internet, long before YouTube, long
Yeah.
before any cell phones. So we did what we could with what we had, and mostly that was cassette tapes, and then the dual cassette tapes, and recording
Oh
back
yeah.
and forth.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, and so that was kind of you know, what I just enjoy doing, and then singing in choir and just performing and mentoring young starlets. And I just kind of just happened. I just was out there doing it, you know, getting up
Yeah.
every morning and hitting the pavement and meeting people and a people person, you know. And then I got into like sales and I started doing some other stuff on the side. And I've learned a lot about that part of the industry, which is the business part. And thankfully, I'm a lover of people. So uh, definitely not a shy person. Uh, and the Comic Cons are what I do now that are kind of like residuals and royalties because
Yeah.
that's you can kind of find a way to kind of make an income right now. I'm in audition mode. I'm not really working on anything prominent right now, but I've been in audition mode for a while and COVID kind of shut my show band down. And but I performed with live bands since 1991 and I miss my singing more than anything right now, but
Yeah.
right now I'm making hay while the sun's shining and I'm booking events and I love it because I get face to face with the fans and their families and
Mm.
the cosplay guests. And I've met a lot of vendors and staff and cosplay, gosh, other guests. It's just a really fun thing to be involved in and
Yeah.
just get out there with the people and
What's kind of like I guess briefly is that talk about like what is your day when you're going to a con? Like what kind is a process that what is there like what's your process? What do you like to do? How do you like to engage your fans?
I like it all. I mean I may or may not be involved. Like if it's it either gets I either get requested to be a guest.
Hmm.
If I'm not available, we look at the next one. We look at the next year.
Yeah.
Some of the Comic Cons are more multiple times a year. They may have different destinations. Some are once a year, some are big, some are small, small towns, big towns, all over. More than ever, they're going on overseas and other countries. And this year was my busiest year by far. And then hopefully next year will also be going strong. Um, Basically, I just, you know, I either book it myself or an agent reaches out to me.
Hmm.
Now that Dan, he's my guy, he's my technical director, he's my manager now, business partner. He helps me with my videos and all of the promotion.
Oh, nice.
I have people I can contact for graphic art. It's all different. It just depends on if it's a Comic Con, if it's a 1 day, a 2 day, a 3 day. Some of them are 4 days.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of getting those flights booked and handling the business side of things. And you know, I make sure I have really cool art on my table. I try to feature original artists. I've got two or three of my favorites that have a lot of art on my table, so it's a matter of managing inventory and ordering merch and ordering Funko Pops, which I'm excited. There's the Dragon Ball GT Pops just came out, so
Oh,
now I've
cool.
got a Goku, you know, GT Pop, and then there's going to be a GameStop exclusive for Super Saiyan 3, which is going to start a whole nother wave, which is a huge blessing. This industry is not easy. It's very competitive and you can get in and out of it. You can get replaced or recast and you don't even know why. And so I'm not entire
Mm.
super, but I was in the OG and that's great. And I'm super excited about it, but I want to be working. I want to be singing. I want to be creating. I want to be writing. So hopefully sooner than later, I can get some of my material up, some of my album that never got released. The fans sound like they really want to hear it. So
I
I'm
want
going
to
to try
hear
to
it.
get my hands on it. Yeah, put it up, get it out there, Spotify or whatever. I'm going to have to sit down and just learn a lot of more technical stuff.
Hmm.
I'm just better as the, you know, the talent that shows up. It's like, hey, you know, that's kind of natural for me. But I'm learning how to do some more of my social media and how to manage that. And yeah, so I mean, I'm basically just I'm here. I've got a website. I've got, you know, all the social media platforms. If people want to find me, I'm easy to find.
Yeah.
So sometimes I reach out to different places because I'm unsaturated there. Like El Paso's going to be great. I've never been there.
Mm.
Uh, Not outside of my band. Our band played there a few
Yeah.
times in the '90s, but it'll be my
It's
first.
changed a lot so since you've been out here, but it's gotten a lot bigger. But you know, I was gonna
Yeah.
mention that I was on your website. It looks great. It's nice
Oh,
and
thanks.
clean.
I'm looking to do more with that. I need to shuffle some things around and maybe even start over with it. I'm not sure, but for now it works. just to kind of let people know kind of what's going on, and then features a little bit of my demo and my singing and some of the
Yeah,
animal.
yeah. I was listening. I was checking out some of the songs you had on there, and some of the videos, some of the
Yeah.
interviews.
Oh,
It's a
cool.
really nice, clean website you have.
Thank you. Yeah, there's a ton that I'd like to add as far as gallery and stuff like that goes, but a lot of the week to week updates and photos get posted to my Facebook page, Stephanie Nadolny voice actress, and then I have an Instagram.
Awesome.
So some of that gets posted there, but I'm trying to keep them separate because I kind of want to keep friends and family, and then
Oh yeah, you
it
got
gets a
it.
little confusing, all the
Yeah, I'm
DMs.
sure someone of your stat, you got to be able to do that because you got to keep it. You got to like manage that because
Yeah.
you have all the fan people and you want to keep the
Yeah.
family
But
stuff
I
to family and personal stuff. So I
right.
totally understand how you.
But
I
they're
don't
my
have
anime
your
babies.
problem, but I
So
totally know where you're probably coming from.
yeah, but I mean, I take care of those emails from the fans, and I write back to
Mhm.
everybody one at a time. And sometimes people can't get to a con, and or they want to know my schedule, or
Mhm.
they might have something they really want signed, and I'm not going to be in their area anytime soon, so they mail it, and we make it happen for
Oh,
them.
that is so awesome that you do that.
Well, it's some can't
Yeah, that
travel.
you some yeah, that's you do it for some, not for.
Yeah, I do it for as many people as I can
Mhm.
on an ongoing basis, and
Yeah,
some weeks are
that's so
busier than
cool.
others. And I have three animals. One of them is not doing well right now, so we're
Oh,
her last days, my cat. So
I'm sorry to
I
hear
have a
that.
lot of stuff I'm juggling, and that's why I get out there and hustle and make it happen so I can give them the best care.
Yeah.
No children, parents have passed, unfortunately, so it's been a rough go of it,
Mhm.
especially over the past few years, losing my mom so young, and then
Yeah.
my dad just passed away recently, and I hadn't seen him in 12 years. So, yeah, kind of struggling with some stuff, but pressing forward, and the fans are always super kind and sweet, and I get a lot of love from them, and it's very, very much appreciated.
And I speak for hopefully I speak for for either most or all your fans that we're always here for you. So if you ever need anything, you can let us know.
I love that.
You have my info. So if you ever need to talk or need something I can help you out with, please
Yeah.
feel free to reach out.
Absolutely, for sure. Same in return. I get a lot of fans coming up, or friends of fans coming up asking how to get into the industry. And it's there's no rule book, but I mean, I try to help whoever I can. And some of the people I helped in the beginning are now big stars in LA and New York.
Woohoo!
Like 25 years ago, I remember them asking me for advice and stuff, and they're like, "I just want you to know, are you answered my emails, and I really appreciate it." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, yeah."
Oh, that's so
You know,
cool.
not everybody's like that, but it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, help nobody gets anywhere by themselves anyway. So it's really good to, mentor and
Yeah.
encourage young people that want to get into any kind of creative line of work.
Oh, that's so awesome that you do that. I mean, you don't meet a lot of people that, want to share the secrets or even give advice. And that's just so cool that you do that for people and
Oh, anytime I
share
can.
some of the,
Yeah, when time allows, I'm always
yeah.
on top of that kind of stuff. And
Uh,
I try to keep up with people that I have met through the industry, whether they be guests, other voice actors, other creative types,
mhm.
artists. I've got a whole like clan of crew of artists that do a lot of the Comic Cons, and we've gotten to be friends. And it's always good to see, familiar
Oh,
faces
that's
at
so
some
cool.
of these events, something big and small.
Yeah. Is it cool when you like when you're there with either some of the voice actors you've worked with, either in Dragon Ball Z, or any other ones you've worked with? Is it kind of a better experience? Not just like I know you're there for the experience for the fans and to be there for them, but is it kind of just like like hanging out with old friends when someone's that is there with you guys at the same con?
Yeah, it can be. Specifically those of us who are kind of OG.
Hmm.
Of course, there's the OG, which I have respect for them. Don't get me wrong. The Ocean Dub, they were there before we were. Like I said, we didn't know what Dragon Ball Z was at all. And so I like meeting them. I actually had really good experiences meeting Peter Columbus and Saffron Henderson, who used to be Gohan, and the old Goku, and Ian James Cortlet, and Mario Castaneda from Mexico City, and Mark Britton, who does a lot of the smaller voices, but does like six or seven of the voices, Ox King and Corin, and
Yeah.
um,
Mark, he was here for the El
yeah,
Paso Comic Con, and he's actually He's come toward here before too. Before,
Recently.
yeah, and then he's also come through, you know, doing his comedy here. And
Yep.
man, he was
Comedian.
here the last one he was here. Man, I'm surprised he didn't lose his voice because he was doing
Yeah.
Berta and all
Sure.
the Kai's.
Mhm.
Oh my, he was doing all the
Yeah.
voices. I was like, dude, you're gonna lose your voice, man.
Yeah, that's another thing you were asking earlier. I mean, we just have to do the best to take care of our voices. And I mean,
Mhm.
I definitely have to remember to drink a lot of water, stay hydrated. You know, we're
Yeah,
super hot here in Texas, you know, every summer.
yeah.
But I have tricks of the trade. You know, I take good care of I've got throat coat, tea. And, you know, one thing that you asked me earlier, and I didn't mean to graze over it, is when I was working on Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball and even Dragon Ball GT, I was still traveling with the show band.
Hmm.
So I was constantly using my voice. It was constantly being I learned how to, you know, morph it and change it. If I was sick, I found a way to sing around it. I found a way to still do my sessions. And, you know, I know all the warm-ups. You know, I taught music
Hmm.
for a while. I taught kids voice and piano. And I went in and out of that during COVID because we couldn't perform and I didn't have, well, I had just gotten my home studio set up. So that was a tough time for everybody. We all had to kind of like figure out what to do, how to get through all of that. But I have always used my voice on the regular. I mean, at worst case scenario, I did have pre-nodules because I was screaming and yelling as Gohan in the Cell Saga, but also
Yeah.
kind of screaming and yelling R&B, soul, jazz, and rock. We were singing rock and pop and, you know, traveling. And I mean, my schedule was up and down and crazy. And so our immune systems were getting attacked and, you know, allergies. And so I've got so much experience using my voice, taking care of my voice,
Hmm.
knowing to listen to your body, know what to do, all the tricks of the trade, there's different things for dry mouth. You can steam, use a steamer. There's, you know, there's ways around it. You can do vocal rest. You know, you can, you know, because if you do vocal rest, if you have nodules or pre-nodules, they will eventually go away.
Oh, okay.
But if you keep bashing your voice and you don't take care of your voice, then surgery might be needed. Because I know one of the girls I
Oh
sang
man.
with had to get nodules removed, nodes, or I think they're called
Yeah.
nodes. I think it was, but that can also be coupled with using your voice in a way that's not proper. Like you can really hurt yourself without
Mhm.
realizing it. If you use a lot of chloroseptic, then next thing you know, you're wow, you're numbing your throat, and that's not good because
Yeah.
then you're really screaming and yelling because you can't feel it. So then you end up sometimes doing more damage.
Yeah. Does
So
like the I have to ask as a fan too, like the sessions when you're doing Gohan's voice or go when you guys are like doing the screaming, do you like do the session and like take a break? Or I mean, because they seem like they could be pretty intense.
yeah, it just depends. When I was obviously the most difficult of all of any and all voice acting for me personally was voicing Gohan in the Cell Saga. That's kind of a no-brainer.
Mhm.
I'm a girl. My voice actually was much higher at the time over the years, and that's kind of normal anyway for vocalists to drop their voice ends up kind of deepening a little,
Mhm.
and it just gets more seasoned. And for me, I just use that to my advantage, or if it, you know, if I had to lower the key and the band could lower the key or whatever. I mean, I work with some of the best musicians ever, so they could just do it on the spot. So
Oh, that's
very
cool.
lucky to have done that. Um, and so you know, I just feel very blessed that I was, you know, able to get into the industry as young as I was because I really wanted to be in the industry as a child, and that just wasn't going to happen. So, but sometimes that can be really bad. It can be traumatizing, and a lot of kids go through try to grow up too fast, or they get
Mhm.
into drugs or alcohol or whatever, and that can happen to anybody. But I'm just saying, like, you hear stories,
Mhm.
sometimes it's not always a good idea. You know, might want to let the kids grow up a little bit more, maybe get a little more mature and get a little bit more a hold of their self-esteem, and you know, kind of get better at handling themselves. But you know, to each his own. You know, it was what it was, and I embraced it and did the best I could with it, and I'm
And
super excited about this weekend.
I am too. I appreciate again, like I am so excited that you're on and you're coming to El Paso. You'll be here this Sunday, this Saturday, sorry, this Saturday, July 20th for I think it's called KamCon.
Yeah. Is
So
that how you're saying it? Is it CamCon or ComCon?
I think
Cam?
I think it's
KAM.
CamCon. It's KAM.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
so excited. It says like 3 to 9. I was thinking it might be actually all day. I'll find out some more. I'll talk to the people involved and we'll figure
Yeah,
that out.
and it is at the El Paso County Coliseum, and here in El Paso, and it is a free event. I
Okay.
believe that
That's
it's not
awesome.
charging. They're not charging admission. And I was going to ask, what can fans expect when they come to your table at CamCon?
Well, I will be hopefully there as I stay at the table as long as I can, unless I need a break or it's time to eat. Goku gotta eat. There's great stuff on the table. I have some great merch. I'll have prints, posters. I have mini prints now that are for people with limited budgets. We go smaller. And I also have a few of the brand new Dragon Ball GT Goku pops. I only have room in my suitcase for 6 pops. So
Uh-oh.
I'll try to fit more, but traveling with those can be kind of, I don't want to, damage the boxes and things like that. So it's a little harder to travel with big merch like that.
Right, right.
I will have some of those, and it'll just be a meet and greet. We can do photos, you can buy autographs, we can chat for a while. I'll deliver some lines for the kiddos and hopefully get to see all the families. I wasn't able to have kids, so I love it when people bring their kids and I can just spoil them and have a good time with them. And they pretty much can, you know, buy whatever they want, hang out for a little bit. And if there's a big line, I'll do the best I can to accommodate each person so they have a good experience. If it's hit or miss and people are just kind of coming through, that's fine too.
Right.
By no means is there any obligation. If somebody just wants to come say hi and shake a hand or give a hug, I'm up for that as well. But it's going to be a lot of fun. I've got
Oh,
my handler with me. My guy Dan will be there, so I can just, I don't have to worry about it. I can
all right.
just be there and do my thing and smile and enjoy the time. And then I think we've even got something going on Sunday as well, which we'll talk about it later, or we can talk about that later. But the main event that I'm there for is Saturday the 20th of July,
Yeah. That's Saturday.
2024. So
Yeah. Then that'll be again at El Paso County Coliseum. I'll put all the information in the description below. Also, all the information for your website, your Instagram, Facebook below, so people can click on, follow you, so they know the next time you're coming around or your next show, or when
mhm.
you got those new songs posted, or when you get
I
anything else
know
going.
it's time to get this stuff done. It's like, oh yeah, yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Well, it's time to light the candles and wear all your new clothes. And it's that time of my life where it's kind of like, okay, I'm getting older now. I really want to, seize the day and really make these years count. These last year, I say these last years sounds like I'm like that sounds really morbid. Sorry.
No, 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 it's all
But
good.
I
And
mean, like, really, I mean, it's like time is passing quicker and quicker as we all get older, as we all know.
yeah,
Time is like we're here for a vapor. So you got to make the most of it and be a good person and be better. Just be better than you were the day before.
I agree.
It's not a
That's
competition. So
some good advice. Some good advice. I appreciate it. Though, if you, of course, we can't wait to see you on Saturday, at the Paso County Coliseum. Again, I'll put all the information in the description below. Miss Steffi, is there anything else you'd like to say or add before we end today?
just super excited to be there. I've been wanting to come to El Paso for a long time. I've had it on my radar. Like, when am I going to get to go to El Paso? And I'm excited to try the food. I absolutely love Mexican food.
Oh,
I lived on the border of Mexico as a kid, and we were in and out of San Antonio all the time and South Texas. And I'm really looking forward to trying the cuisine and meeting all the people and having some fun out there with you guys. It's been like probably 30 years since I've been to El Paso, and it was for a gig. It was for a singing gig
yeah.
with Vince Vance in
Well,
the Valley.
we'll take care of you when you get in. You're ready for some food. We'll send you some suggestions for sure.
Yeah, I heard you say that in the email. I'm like, okay, let's talk food.
Yes, we will. We will.
Goku and I have that in common.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. I appreciate it. That's like such you're just I'm ready to see you on Saturday. So I'll let you go. Thank you so much for being on the show with me, and we'll see you this Saturday at the County Coliseum.
That's awesome. I'm glad we got to do this
Thank you
and
so
tell
much.
everybody, text all your friends. grab the family, grab your friends. It's going to be super fun. And I'm looking forward to meeting all of you there in El Paso, Texas. Yeehaw.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Stephanie Nadolny, thank you so much.